This is Song of Wata, written, illustrated, and narrated by Nakia Shade, with music composed by Tawny Mary Edwards, Queen of Goldfish, a serialized audio drama and Masala fiction published by Garamas Studios Incorporated. Chapter 5, From Contract to Connection. Niambe steps into Ruzan Ideen's downtown Kerry penthouse overlooking the Columbia River. Your penthouse is grander than I imagined. The soft click of the door behind her echoes through the marble hall, marking a new chapter of her life. She feels Rizwanudeen's presence in every polished surface. The scent of sandalwood and jasmine lingers in the air, mingling with polished wood. The space is grand, ornate furniture neatly arranged, and paintings from the old Congo coast lining the walls. They take their shoes off at the door, and Rizwanudeen steps into leather chopples. He hands his coat to Idris, who offers to take hers as well. Your room is in the guest room with the balcony, Rizwanudeen says. My room? Yes. You'll need your own room when you visit. Idris will show you. I have work to do. I'll see you at dinner, Rizwanudeen adds, leaving upstairs. Follow me, Miss Barr. Idris' movements are precise, almost rehearsed. Please, call me Mrs. Malik. I have to play the part, right? Yes, of course. Niambe follows, passing the grand stairs Rizwanudeen ascends and moving down a hallway lined with tapestries of beautiful women and nature. Her room is modest and comfortable, overlooking the mountains and Cairo below. She opens the closet and notices a few pieces of clothing. Mr. Malik says you'll go on an expense-paid shopping trip for new clothes this week. For now, there is a nightgown and toiletries in the bathroom. He thinks of everything. Thanks, Idris. Of course, Mrs. Malik. I'll leave you alone. Ring the intercom on the nightstand if you need anything. Rani slithers from Niambe's caftan pocket and purrs as she coils into the plush duvet cover. With her parents, the founders of Kauri, Niambe is used to luxury and the finest things. But this is different. These aren't her workers, chefs, or assistants. She trusts Rizwanudeen and knows him well enough, yet after today, she stays cautious. There's too much on her mind, and she can't afford to show weakness or let her emotions spill over. She burns with anger at Delphine, her mother, for never teaching her everything about being a Mami Wata, and her father. If only he weren't so consumed by grief and depression, maybe none of this would have happened. Niambe sits in the bed, glaring at the sunset dancing across the river. Her mind is split in two, half with Baba in the hospital, half with Sela. She forces herself to breathe, steadying her anger, before stepping fully into her new reality. Knowing survival now means navigating this gilded cage of both care and cunning. Later that night, Idris knocks. If you'd like to eat, Mrs. Malik, you can join Rizwanudeen in the dining room. The dinner is simple, humble, and delicious. The chefs prepare vegetarian dishes, dals, keema, and ghee-slathered flaky roti. Niambe grabs a plate and insists on serving Rizwanudeen herself. When she finally serves her own, her stomach growls. She hasn't eaten since morning. She tears into the roti, savoring the richness of the ghee and the sharp fragrance of the kasuri methi in the dal. They eat in silence until he finally asks, "Does that snake of yours eat food?" Rani doesn't need to eat. She's tethered to me spiritually, so as long as I'm consistent with my self-care, she'll be fine. But she loves sweets. Niambe, you're not a prisoner or a slave. I know these aren't the best circumstances, but I'm glad I was there. And like I said, I'm your friend. I just want to help you. We're married on paper, but that doesn't change our friendship. Thanks. And I know the contract mentioned my own penthouse. I won't take up a lot of space here or bother you. Take Idris with you house hunting. When you find the place you want, let me know. I'll put it in your name. Her cheeks warm. She hums to calm her nerves. Tell me, what brought you to Cascadia? Progress and a fresh start. I sold everything I owned and moved from India with 1 crore to my name and a chest full of fabric and jewels. I put a seamstress and his wife, friends of mine, to make outfits for women. And then I met your mother. Yamaya loved the caftans and insisted on placing an order for her and her daughters. She told every Carrion aristocrat about my designer caftans. And that's how the Red Jay Company began. Niambe realizes most of the clothes she wears come from Rizwan Udin's women's brand Zoya. Thanks to them, Red Jay Company now carries designer clothes, imported and local foods, and stylish home decor. Your parents helped me out when I was nobody in a foreign land, treated me like family. I owe them this much. Later, in the kitchen, Nyambe's bare feet sting against the cold marble floors. The stone leaches the warmth from her skin, turning her toes pale. Ronnie slithers down from the counter she was eating jalebis from and curls around her feet like a living anklet to give heat. What's wrong? Rosandine asks, noticing. He disappears briefly, returning with the box. Inside lies embroidered wool slippers, the lining thick with brushed fleece. The faint scent of roses drips from the box, as though they've been stored carefully. The floors are chilly at night. They're beautiful. Are you sure? He gestures to the stool, waits until she sits. Clearly, you're so cold you can't walk. These are made of llama and sheep's wool from Sikkim. They'll keep you warm. She slips them on, and her breath catches at the soft plushness. Then, he removes the wool poncho from his shoulder, its weight heavier than it looks, the fabric smelling faintly of smoke and roses. May I put this on your shoulders? Your room doesn't get much heat in the colder months. I'll purchase a proper heating fan. Sure. He drapes it over her, ties the pom-poms close, and folds the hood over her head. The fabric cocoons her, rough at the edges but soft against her neck. Ronnie peeks from beneath it with a purr. Oh, it matches. Niambe laughs softly, catching her reflection in the mirror, the slippers, the poncho, the hood, framing her face. You look decent. That night, she wakes, screaming from a dream of the auction. Delphine's cold eyes, Yamaya and Abu Bakr's disappointment, and Sela being sold to Captain Barbarossa. How could you be so useless? Her parents' voice accused. Ronnie looks at her cheek. Niambe gasps to see Rizwanuddin standing in the doorway, curta pajamas, half buttoned, a glass of water in his hand. He sets it on her nightstand and sits silently at her desk. He doesn't speak, but he doesn't leave until her breathing steadies. In the morning, she finds a silver charm etched with earthy writing resting by her bed. For protection, he mutters at breakfast. Nothing more. Weeks later, She prepares for her Mami Wata lunar ritual. Candles lit, oils, and song all set on her balcony. This ritual must be performed each month to keep her connection with her Mami Wata side strong and keep the more wild parts of her nature at bay. She braces for mockery, but instead, Idris delivers a brass bowl of rose-scented water. From Mr. Malik. When Rizwan-ud-Din passes, he pauses in her doorway. My grandmother swore by such things. I don't understand them, but I respect them. During her cycle, heated herbal packs and ginger chamomile tea arrive without comment. She doesn't thank Rizwan-ud-Din. She knows he won't accept it. By the second month, she notices his quirks. He polishes his shoes himself. He keeps handwritten ledgers, though the company is digital now. He loves to play solitaire on his command brick and sings guzzles to himself. When stressed, he folds his napkin into neat triangles. The first time she laughs, he catches her eye and actually looks embarrassed. One evening, during the pain of shedding, Niambe hides in her bathroom, horrified by the fragments of her skin. He finds her trembling, but shows no disgust. Instead, Rizwan-ud-Din wraps the scales in silk and orders Idris to burn them respectfully. You are not to be ashamed of what keeps you alive. One morning, Niambe wakes, intent on cooking a comforting breakfast for herself and Rizwan-ud-Din. The chefs look confused, unaccustomed to any of Rizwan-ud-Din's guests entering the kitchen. But Niambe insists, asserting her role as Mrs. Malik in the home. When Rizwan-ud-Din enters, after morning prayer, Niambe has already laid out his breakfast. I cooked you breakfast, aloo roti with chicken nahari. Why? I just thought you might want your wife to cook you something. Look, you're doing too much, he says flatly. Remember, this isn't a marriage of affection. You're here to be safe, to fill the agreement. That's it. I know. I just thought, don't think. It's all written in black and white, he says, rereading his copy of the contract. You'll have your own home, money, a driver, and appearances to keep. Most importantly, you'll retain access to your father, even if Delphine intervenes. You'll see him, speak with him, and remain part of his care. And your Sela will be free in a year. Fine, Niambe exhales. Please, enjoy your breakfast. She leaves and lingers by the doorway, catching him clumsily tear one of her rotis. Too thin, he says, but eats 3. By the 4th month, after she finishes a griot story, he blurts the truth. I buried my 3rd wife by a river. Cholera took her in 2 days. My 2-year-old daughter, too. I had nothing but a chest of fabric when I came to Cascadia. Niambe stills. He never speaks of the past. His voice roughens. I shouldn't have said that. Quietly, she answers. Thank you for sharing with me. Their eyes lock. For once, he doesn't look away. The ledger on his desk remains closed all night. Fall deepens. One morning, Niambe wakes to find a thermos of honey ginger tea at her bedside. No note, no acknowledgement. She stitches him a pocket square in return. He slips it into his blazer without a word. wearing it all day. Some nights, he asks, "Tell me one story before bed. Keep my mind sharp." She obliges, her griot voice carrying across the cold penthouse. She plays the harmonium, and he listens, never interrupting, but sometimes, just sometimes, the corner of his mouth twitches with amusement. 6 months later. "Salam, Baba." Abu Bakar's only reply is a faint turn of his head. Niambe visits him faithfully twice a week, washes his face and his hair, and feeds him gently. "She's coming back for me," he insists. Niambe lies to fill the silence. "Yes, Baba, she isn't gone. She's coming back." Each time she leaves, Niambe lingers by the open door, listening for Yamaya's Song of Wata. But the only sound is the Columbia River rushing below. That afternoon, she goes to the new youth center, a sunlit space painted with murals and stacked with books. Foster children gather for her puppet theater, their laughter filling the air. Here, she isn't a daughter, a wife, or a performer. She is simply Miss Griot, storytelling, living library, teller of tales. Just Niambe. And in these moments, she realizes something startling. The confidence she carries into these rooms, the steadiness in her hands on the marionette strings, come from the small rituals of care at home. The slippers, the poncho, the silent presence during her nightmares. Rizwan Uddin's cold protection has given her space to be warm for others. Soon, business meetings follow, networking events with carrying ambassadors and foreign dignitaries, performances in smoky lounges. Niambe's name begins to spill across newspapers, radio, and television. Everyone wants to know the Mami Wata, who softened the cold foreign tradesman's heart. But it's the quiet nights at Rizwan Uddin's penthouse, the ledgers, the stories, the thermos of tea that shape her more than the public applause. By the 6th month, she no longer sees only a contract. She sees possibility. She imagines a different future. A silly fantasy that perhaps Rizwan Uddin Malik could be hers, not just in law, but in heart. That weekend, the Cowrie Welcome Week Gala fills the glitzy Parveen Hotel with music and light. Just before her opening performance, Idris pulls Niambe aside and takes her to Rizwan Uddin's hotel room, its windows framing the sparkling Columbia River. "Here she is, sir," he announces as she steps in. The assistant closes the doors, leaving them alone. "Niambe, could you help me?" Rizwan asks, emerging from behind the folding fans. His suit looks perfect, but the tie drapes awkwardly over his shoulders. Niambe spots a short ottoman near the window. Rizwan hooks his shoe under the base and pulls it towards him. She approaches, holding back a sigh. "I showed you how to do it before," she says, setting the tie between her fingers. "Yes, well, that was a bow tie. This is normal," he admits, glancing away, clearly frustrated. His rare vulnerability tugs at her chest. "You look stunning today," he adds softly. The words fall out before he can snatch them back. Niambe freezes for a heartbeat, caught off guard by the tone. She doesn't answer, instead focusing on straightening the knot. Finished, she steps off the ottoman. "There, all set. Anything else, Mr. Malik?" "No, thank you," he says, a flicker of amusement crossing his face. Quick, control, gone. The moment leaves Niambe unsettled, her thoughts spiral. He has shown a romantic side she hadn't expected. One she tells herself she won't see again. And yet, as she heads back to the ballroom, the silly fantasy takes root. He could love me. I think he could. Rani shakes her tail and hisses. You're right. This is not love, she whispers to herself, to Rani. This is a contract. But when her eyes close, her dreams betray her, offering visions not of escape, but of a life, where Rizwan Uddin Malik's rare slips of kindness are no longer accidents, but promises.